Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us here in Harrisonburg as we are taking the Right to Contraception tour and Freeda, the 20-foot inflatable IUD, across the state. My name is Katie Baker, and I'm here today on behalf of Americans for Contraception. We are a national advocacy organization who formed in response to the Dobbs decision that overturned Roe v. Wade. In his concurrence in that decision, Justice Clarence Thomas said that the court should reconsider the right to contraception next. So we identified a very real and clear threat. That, in combination with Donald Trump saying on the campaign trail that he was looking at restrictions on contraception. So we activated in, I believe, about 10 states to work with legislative champions to introduce bills that would codify that right to contraception in the event that the Supreme Court does overturn Griswold v. Connecticut. And here in Virginia, Senator Ghazala Hashmi from Richmond and Delegate Marcia Price from Newport News, they wanted to be here today but weren't able to make it, have gotten that bill across the finish line and to the governor's desk right now. And what it would do is it would codify the right for people to use and for doctors to prescribe FDA-approved forms of contraception, including condoms, the pill, emergency contraceptives, and of course, IUDs. So we're calling on him to please sign that bill before tomorrow's deadline, which is at 11:59 p.m. tomorrow night. And so we're just trying to raise awareness by taking Freeda across the state. We started out earlier this week in Williamsburg and Charlottesville. We're headed to Blacksburg tomorrow, but it's not a complete tour without a stop with Mayor Reed in the Friendly City. And so that, with that, it is my great honor to introduce the mayor. Mayor.
All right, hello everyone. Thank you for being here and welcome to Harrisonburg, Virginia for the next to the last stop of the Right to Contraception tour. I am proud to be the mayor of our friendly city. I fight each and every day for the people who live in our community, and today I am fighting for their right to use contraception. Yesterday, we marked a somber milestone, 100 days of the second Trump administration. The man single-handedly responsible for setting us back an entire generation when it comes to reproductive rights and bodily autonomy. A year ago, I stood here with you to ring the alarm that the right to contraception was under threat. And that threat is now here. Within days of taking office, Donald Trump reinstated the global gag rule, which is restricting access to contraception around the world. Here at home, Donald Trump is pushing a budget agenda that would slash $880 billion from Medicaid. For those who may not already be aware, Medicaid is the largest payer of reproductive health services in our country. In fact, Medicaid covers 75% of all public funds spent on family planning services, including IUDs. And of course, we cannot forget the real threat to the Constitution-protected rights to contraception that is looming from the Supreme Court. Justice Clarence Thomas wrote clearly that he is looking at overturning that right in his concurrence in the Dobbs decision. But some states, both red and blue, are standing up to these efforts to further undermine our rights. Tennessee is the latest state to pass a bipartisan bill to codify the right to contraception into their state law. Last year, Governor Youngkin missed his opportunity to be a leader on this issue. Thankfully, he has the chance to fix that mistake. Tomorrow is the deadline for him to sign the Right to Contraception Act, and Governor Youngkin, we're expecting you to do that. Thank you to the Americans for Contraception and Planned Parenthood for bringing Freeda Womb here today as we call for Governor Youngkin to sign this bill. Hopefully she gets the governor's attention. I know she got our attention. We can and must protect our status as the last safe haven for reproductive rights in the South. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting us. And Freeda, we're going to do our thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor. And I just wanted to piggyback off of something you said. So the Tennessee governor, who is a Republican, just signed within the last week or two a similar bill in Tennessee to protect the right to contraception, despite even extremist opposition in his own party. So we're really hoping that Governor Youngkin can follow that lead and sign this bill and let it become law. It was a bipartisan bill in Tennessee. The bill here only passed with a handful of Republican votes, but I do want to name that here locally, Senator Obenchain and Delegate Tony Wilt did vote against the Right to Contraception Act, and we think it's important that the community here know that. And with that, I will introduce my friend and colleague, Jamie Lockhart from Planned Parenthood. Jamie.
Good morning. I'm Jamie Lockhart, and I have the honor and privilege of serving as Executive Director of Planned Parenthood Advocates of Virginia. I'm also excited to be here in Harrisonburg as a JMU alum. We're here today because access to contraception is on the line, and Governor Youngkin has a choice to make. For the second year in a row, the Virginia General Assembly has passed the Right to Contraception Act. Now it's on the governor's desk. Signing this bill into law should be the easiest decision he makes all year. It's not a partisan issue. It's a healthcare issue. It's a freedom issue. And it's a deeply personal issue for millions of Virginians, including me. After both of my children were born, I relied on an IUD because it gave me exactly what I needed as a new mom: effective, long-lasting contraception that didn't interfere with breastfeeding. Unlike other hormonal methods, I knew an IUD would not affect my milk supply, and I appreciated that both the hormonal and non-hormonal options were safe to use right after giving birth. It required no daily maintenance, gave me peace of mind, and most importantly, I knew I could have it removed at any time if I wanted to grow my family. It was a simple, reliable option that gave me the space to recover and focus on my babies while staying in control of my future. That's what contraception does. It gives people agency. It gives families the power to decide what's right for them. But even here in Virginia, those rights are not guaranteed. Across the country, we've seen what happens when politicians go after reproductive health care. First abortion, and now birth control. They've tried to ban emergency contraception, restrict IUDs, and push misinformation that puts people's lives and futures at risk. We cannot wait for a national crisis to come to our doorstep. Governor Youngkin has a chance to lead. He has a chance to protect a right that most Virginians across political lines already agree with. The Right to Contraception Act affirms what we know to be true, that everyone deserves the freedom to decide if and when to grow their family without government interference. We urge the governor to do the right thing. Sign this bill and show Virginians that our reproductive freedom is worth protecting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jamie, for your advocacy and for sharing your story. And we think it's really important at each of our stops across the state to elevate the voices of local community members, and of young people who particularly may be impacted. So excited to introduce Abby Garber, here from Rockingham County. Abby.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Abby Garber. I am 19 years old, and I am from about just 10 minutes that way in Rockingham County. Today, we are here demanding that Governor Youngkin signs the Right to Contraception Act by Friday. Virginians are counting on him to enshrine this vital right and ensure that we have the tools to thrive right here in the Commonwealth. As a young person, my future is the most precious thing to me. And while I'm not sure what that includes yet, I know that I want to stay in Virginia and that I need choices. I want to choose what job I pursue, what species of pet I get first, and most critically, when or even if to start a family. But for so many of my friends, contraception goes beyond family planning. It's critical medication for PCOS, endometriosis, and so many other chronic diseases. This legislation would protect so many at a time when everyone is becoming increasingly vulnerable as Republicans continue to roll back our rights. We aren't imagining these threats. They're all too real. Justice Clarence Thomas has openly asked for the Supreme Court to, quote, look at contraception after they overturned Roe. Virginians deserve this proactive legislation that will shield us from national attacks. Virginia is currently the last safe haven in the South for abortion access, but it is not for contraception access. Tennessee just enacted bipartisan protections for contraception. If an incredibly conservative state like Tennessee can safeguard contraception access, Governor Youngkin must do the same. He has no excuses left for why he won't sign this legislation into law and stand with Virginians, especially because 9 out of 10 Americans, including Republicans, Independents, and Democrats, support the right to contraception because it is fundamental. Our own legislators here in Harrisonburg and Rockingham County, Senator Obenshain and Delegate Wilt, refused to protect contraception access when they voted against this bill, despite the fact that 99% of women use it, and increasing access is critical in our rural community. I hope they understand that young people notice their refusal to protect us in the onslaught of national attacks. My future and the futures of countless other young people are at stake. I'm asking Governor Youngkin, Senator Obenshain, and Delegate Wilt to find the courage within themselves to stand with their constituents and ensure that the right to contraception is enshrined for once and for all. But most of all, Governor Youngkin, don't let that legislation burn a hole in your desk for much longer, and listen to Virginians. Sign the Right to Contraception Act today. Thank you.
Thanks, Abby, and thanks for mentioning that polling, which I had forgot to mention. This is something that has strong bipartisan support among actual community members, Americans, and Virginians. So it's really just a matter of some of the extremists in the General Assembly who have created a problem there. In fact, in Tennessee, Democrats carried a very similar bill last year, and the Republicans realized it was so politically popular that they copied it and they passed it this year, which is fine with us. We just want it to be passed. So with that, I want to open it up if there's any reporters here who have questions. Going once. All right, I think with that, we'll go ahead and get some photos. Thank you to all our volunteers. Thank you to the mayor, our speakers, our advocates, all of you for joining us on this beautiful day in the Friendly City. And yeah, well, if everybody could just stay where you are, and we'll get some photos. Thank you.